Hey, this is Type V3, and 2013 was a great year to be a toy collector. However, there were a few rough releases sprinkled throughout. So with that said, let's count down my top 5 most disappointing toys of the past year. Starting off this list at number 5 is Transformers' masterpiece Soundwave. Now let me be clear, this is not a bad figure. In fact, it's fairly good. The reason it makes this list is because of how disappointing it is as a transforming toy. Soundwave's appeal stems from his characterization on the original cartoon, but as a concept he couldn't be less interesting. The transformation sequence is dull, and what you're rewarded with is a boring box. This aspect also extends to the cassette tape feature. It's cute for about 5 minutes until you realize it's a flawed and irrelevant gimmick. I will admit that the North American release of this Transformer, which included every single cassette tape, was a pretty great deal. But if the best thing I can say about this figure is its value for money, then that's completely besides the point. Because this isn't an investment, it's a toy. And toys, first and foremost, are meant to be fun. Masterpiece Soundwave is anything but that. At number 4, we have the pair of Sword Art Online Figmas, Kirito and Asuna. At face value, these aren't bad figures, though they're not great ones either. Visually, there's no issues. It's their functionality as action figures that really let this pair down. The standard Figma body just can't recreate any of the acrobatic sequences seen in the anime. Then there's the few accessory count, as well as some of the included ones being a little silly. Kirito's screaming face is both ugly and uncharacteristic, while Asuna's second sword is pointless. And it's not like Good Smile didn't know what to include. After all, their Nendoroid versions of these characters came with some brilliant extras. Ultimately, this Figma pairing felt like a lazy release and a blatant cash grab. At number 3 is D-Art's Raido Kuzunoa. From a technical standpoint, this is probably the weakest toy on this list. The figure's plastic quality is both cheap and scratchy, details are mushy, and the articulation is surprisingly limited. The only redeeming quality here is the abundance of accessories. It's not a good figure, and it's a shame too, since I think Raido has a very unique and appealing design. The only reason he's not ranked higher on this list is simply because my attachment to the character isn't quite as great as the others. At number 2 is the Power Rangers Legacy Megazord. A newly sculpted die-cast version of the original Dino Combiner? How could this be bad? After all, it does everything the original toy could do, looks even better, and as a nostalgia piece, it definitely gets my heart racing. However, it's also a sharp reminder of just how limiting the original Megazord toy was. Apart from the combining feature, there is absolutely nothing else this toy can do. It even struggles for basic articulation. Newer Power Ranger Megazords have included gimmicks to substitute for posability, and that's something the Legacy Megazord desperately needs. So while it may be a great display piece, it is without doubt a terrible toy. And finally, my number 1 most disappointing toy of 2013 was none other than D-Art's Mewtwo. Pokemon merchandise has been fairly limited to static figurines, and so the thought of articulated toys was all too exciting. Even just basic posability would be fine. Of course, I realize that not every Pokemon design would lend well to an articulated toy, but Mewtwo with his human-like features was easily one of the strongest contenders to make for a great figure. Well, he wasn't. Articulation was limited and frustrating to deal with. The toy couldn't even stand on its own, which made the super jointed tail useless. The custom display stand was nice, though it almost couldn't even support Mewtwo. Accessories were an afterthought too, and overall, slightly overpriced. Sure, he looks great, but then we've had 15 years worth of static figurines to fill that space. Honestly, this toy is just sad, and that's that. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on their other D-Arts Pokemon. Well, there you have it, my top 5 most disappointing toys of 2013. Although, there is one more item that I probably should mention. Actually, the entire toy line it stems from could have easily taken all 5 slots on this list. What toys am I talking about? Well, it could only be NECA's entire Pacific Rim toy line, 18-inch Gypsy Danger included. The only reason they're not here is because almost immediately after receiving them, I put them where I thought they belonged, in the trash. Anyways, this has been Type V3. Thanks for watching and stick around, because now that my worst toys of 2013 are out of the way, my best picks are coming right up.